Money Vikings, all right, welcome back to the show. I want to do a quick one today on the Bitcoin apocalypse that's going down and give some perspective and some ideas and tips and tricks. I'm going to do also a couple of quick excerpts out of a book called Think and Grow Rich. This is a Napoleon Hill classic from a long time ago. It's for men and women who resent poverty. That is a classic book to pick up and has a lot of very interesting information in it. So let me first start with that. Let's go through a couple of ideas from that book, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on where we're at in terms of Bitcoin and what I'm going to be doing. So from that book, from the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, there is a concept called 3 Feet from Gold. Very good book in its own right as well. And this is the idea of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. This is something that definitely we need to work on in life, because there will almost certainly be defeat and setbacks in life. It's actually the total human experience is filled with that. My grandfather, who I talk about in our upcoming Money Vikings book, used to say that life is one challenge after another, but he was an optimist, and so he would follow that up with, life is one challenge after another, but there is always at least one solution to every challenge, and usually multiple solutions and multiple ways ahead and ways to tackle a challenge. So that's the good news, and that's the silver lining. But basically, do not quit when you are overtaken by temporary defeat. That is one main thing from that book. Here's another interesting concept. Thoughts can materialize into physical form. So we need to mind our thoughts carefully. We do tend to have monkey brains, and I talk about this as well in the Money Viking book about building wealth. Our brains and our emotions can be our own worst enemies. We get very short-sighted. We get very much, addicted to things. We get addicted to the short term, and we're not thinking long term. It's very hard. It's going to be hard for our brains to do that. But we need to recalibrate at times and make sure that we are thinking positive thoughts, thinking ahead of the challenge, understand that there is hope, there is possibility in the future. The other thing, this was kind of cool, mix thoughts, emotions, and action to create a magnetic force which attracts great things into your life. I do believe this. So when you begin to care about the relationships that you have with other people and the type of people you're surrounding with, when you begin to respect resources, respect the dollars that you're earning, respect yourself, I think those things compound and begin to magnetize and attract greater success to you. I do believe that. I don't think it's sort of magic or mumbo jumbo. I think it's actually kind of a law of attraction of physics. The in physics, and sort of like when you think of like planetary systems and suns, the larger ones sort of bring more and more into their vortex. It kind of grows and grows. Maybe that's what a black hole is. Maybe it's created some critical mass where it's just brought in so much power and mass. But anyway, I digress. I'm not a cosmologist. But the point being is, there's a very clear analogy with money and dollars. When people, they always say the rich get richer. The reason behind that is because more dollars attract more dollars, and it compounds. So the idea is to reach that critical mass, but do it also with your relationships, caring for other people, caring for yourself, caring for your mind, all those types of things. They begin to sort of feed and grow on each other, and they get more and more powerful in our lives. And so can negative emotions and negative habits. Those can grow and become more powerful. I loved this one. The book talked about only engage in transactions which benefit all. I've been a negotiator on real estate deals for many years. I definitely believe in this. Transactions that benefit everyone are totally the best over the medium and long run. It might feel good to, get one over on somebody in the short run, but not for everybody. But that does not lead to long-term success, in my opinion, and in what I've seen. And the last thing I'll leave you with is develop self-confidence and demand of yourself persistent, continuous action. That's very cool. Developing your self-confidence and demanding action is critical. So from here, let's go on a little walk. I want to talk about Bitcoin and where we're at. So I'm putting on the old sunglasses here because we are running into some some things here, but I want to keep our heads straight, all right, as we go. So the bottom line with Bitcoin at the moment is that we are at a situation where I want you to keep in mind Mr. Market. And what I mean by Mr. Market is the markets. Warren Buffett and Ben Graham talked about this for many years. The markets in the short run are, and on the day-to-day, are neurotic. They are absolute crazy people. So you have to imagine that every day when you're looking at a market, you're looking at a crazy neurotic person that is just like totally out of control. They're just like, they're emotional wrecks. They can't see past the day. They're seeing sort of one bit of news and they're totally overreacting. They're totally going in the like direction they shouldn't go, for the long run anyway. I think a lot of that's happening with Bitcoin right now. They think there's a belief that because the interest rates may not come down as fast or when everyone wants them to, that there's a knee-jerk reaction towards risk-off assets, and there's a knee-jerk reaction against risk-on assets. This is what I would do as an individual investor and what I do. So what I do is essentially I have two portfolios. So I have a portfolio of the more conservative kind of, boring stuff, dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 and the Schwab, dividend fund and the Vanguard dividend fund. And I just sort of, you just continue to plug along, there's some bond funds, whatever, and you just add to it every month automatically and you just let it ride. Well, then you have a portfolio where you have the risk on assets, and that's where you have the Bitcoin and you have the Nvidia and you got all the hot tech stocks, blah, blah, blah. I think it's critical to do both because, you can have some huge wins from the risk on assets. And so that's what that's what I would do in terms of Bitcoin. But again, at the moment, if you're down, remember too that with investing in assets, a couple of things about Bitcoin. I've never said, do more than 5 to 10% of your overall portfolio. That's what I do. I'm not saying that's for everybody. Some people want to do more, some people want to do less. But if you're at a number like that and Bitcoin is down 10% or whatever it might be, I mean, it's not the end of the world for anybody. Now, somebody who's like 100% in Bitcoin or crypto, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride. Because again, we all know that volatility is a key aspect of this, of that asset class of these commodities. And also I would keep in mind, there's no loss until you sell, right? So that's something that definitely has to be thought of. People, again, tend to freak out in the short run, and that leads them to panic sell. And panic selling, well, that definitely bakes in the loss. If you're holding the asset for the long run, you still don't have a loss yet. So, those are just some ideas. So, in my mind, Bitcoin is a bit on sale at the moment. And, we're going to have to see how this all plays out. And yeah, go from there. So that's my 2 cents, everybody. What do you think? Leave it in the comments. Love to hear what you think. I could be wrong. I could be right. I think that's a song. Could be wrong or I could be right. And yeah, that's, I'm going to leave it at that. God bless you. Take care.